Frequency Podcast Network. Stories that matter, podcasts that resonate.
U.S. President Donald Trump touted his accomplishments in the longest State of the Union address ever recorded. Hi, I'm Virjesh Dave. This is Big Headlines, everything you need to know to be in the know in just 5 minutes. In his State of the Union address, U.S. President Donald Trump touted his accomplishments from the first year of his second term and declared a golden age of America. Trump spoke for 1 hour and 47 minutes, the longest recorded State of the Union address, and claimed prices are down, even though affordability is still a major concern. And while Trump didn't reference Canada directly, he hinted he's keeping tariffs in place even with a Supreme Court decision against it.
Everything was working well. Countries that were ripping us off for decades are now paying us hundreds of billions of dollars.
Trump also defended his immigration ICE crackdown. The president took several shots at Democrats, claiming they've blocked the deportation of dangerous criminals and have been trying to push tax increases.
We're lucky we have a country with people like this. Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time.
Most of the gold medal winning U.S. men's hockey team was also in attendance, except for Leafs captain Austin Matthews and a few others. Winnipeg Jets goaltender Connor Hellebuyck was there and will receive the Presidential Medal of Freedom for his performance in Milan. Ottawa is pledging $8 million in food aid for Cuba as the Caribbean nation deals with a humanitarian crisis triggered by a U.S. oil blockade. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand and MP Randeep Sarai, the Secretary of State for International Development, say the funding aims to address urgent needs. Global Affairs Canada has warned travelers for more than a year of shortages of basic necessities, including food, medicine, and fuel, across most of Cuba. In January, the island lost its main source of fuel when the U.S. took control of Venezuela's oil reserves, and the White House has since threatened tariffs on countries sending Cuba fuel. The funding from the federal government for Cuba is set to be delivered through the United Nations instead of the Cuban government. Canadian travelers returning from Mexico after days of uncertainty say the news reports were alarming. Canadian Airlines temporarily suspended service to Puerto Vallarta. Air Canada, Air Transat, WestJet, and Porter Airlines have since resumed flights. However, Global Affairs Canada is still advising travelers to exercise a high degree of caution. Meanwhile, questions are beginning to circulate surrounding security in Mexico after 2 days of violence following the killing of one of the most feared cartel leaders in the country. As Megan Janetsky with the Associated Press reports, the country is set to host FIFA World Cup games later this summer.
Jalisco, in general, has faced a number of stark examples of cartel violence and a forced disappearance crisis. Normally, when a capo is taken out, you can see ripples of other violence. Factions of the cartel fighting for power and other cartels making territory grabs. So Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has assured people that there's no risk for visitors coming to Mexico for the competition and that the violence will not affect World Cup festivities, but other people are not so convinced.
Sunday night, the Mexican army killed the leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel known as El Mencho. Also making big headlines, healthcare advocates are in Ottawa pushing lawmakers to take action to reverse a worrying cancer trend. Experts say cervical cancer, often caused by HPV, is the fastest growing cancer in this country, but that it's almost completely preventable. Advocacy groups say cervical cancer could be eliminated in Canada by 2040 if the country reaches a 90% vaccination rate for kids under 18. Right now, that vaccination rate is at 64%. Advocates are pushing for provincial governments to fund the vaccine for adults. Carmen Whiten, the president of the Women's Health Coalition of Canada, is urging lawmakers in Ottawa to pass a Senate bill that would create a national strategy on women's health. She says passing the bill could standardize access to HPV testing and self-sampling across provinces and maintain health equity. The search for the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie has entered its 25th day. The The FBI says it's received hundreds of credible tips after the family of Nancy Guthrie announced a $1 million reward for information leading to the recovery of her mother.
We still believe in a miracle. We still believe that she can come home.
An FBI official tells CNN that in the hours since Savannah Guthrie posted that announcement of the reward, that it's generated 750 credible leads. They've since been passed on from the FBI call center to investigators in Arizona. In addition to the $1 million reward for information leading to the recovery of their mother, the Guthrie family says they're also going to be donating $500,000 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in hopes that the attention on their mother will extend all missing persons cases. If you haven't listened yet, today on the Big Story podcast, how close is Canada to a Carney majority? Host Maria Costain speaks to a journalist who covers Parliament Hill for Politico, Mickey Jurich.
Do you think Mark Carney needs a majority right now? I mean, he doesn't really seem to necessarily be struggling in terms of governing. Do you think he needs one?
In recent weeks, ever since Pierre Poilievre returned from the Conservative Party convention in Calgary, he has been working really hard not to be viewed as someone who is obstructing government. There's been polls out there that Canadians don't want an election, but they would be willing to go to an election if they see that Parliament doesn't work. So I think Poilievre's team is really taking in that information and finding ways that they can work with the Liberal government.
You can listen to the full episode wherever you get your podcasts. Now you're in the know. Thank you for listening to Big Headlines. Make sure you follow, share, and review Big Headlines. Today's episode was produced by Kate Hayes. Enrica Amaturo is our lead producer. I'm Virjesh Dave. Have an amazing day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.